Hello everyone, so today we are going to discuss balance price range. It's a kind of form of fair value gap. We all know how fair value gap is. Fair value gap is a candle like this. It's a three candle sequence. Mm, I'm going to draw a wick on top of this also. Okay. Kindly ignore the way I draw. Just I'm trying to give you an example of how a fair value gap is. And we mark this whole entire inside zone here as a fair value gap. This is what we call a fair value gap. When the wick, the opening of the previous candle and the close of the previous candle do not meet. Do you see? That is what we call a fair value gap. But now today we are going to discuss what we call balance price range. Is a form of fair value gap that many of you actually do not it actually ignore or do not know what it is called, but it's a simple fair value gap that carries a lot of weight. It's a very amazing fair value gap which I want to show you about. Now it's a fair value gap on two sequence in the sense that when you want to mark your point of entry, when you have a fair value gap, when you follow your rule, right, and you can start, there's a fair value gap, there's a break of structure in your direction of the market, there's a break of structure here, and you realize that you want to mark your fair value gap. Let me use this line. This is your fair value gap, but you can see it doesn't have any fair value gap behind it. But you just go round. Let me try and find one that is looks like a very good example for you. Okay, let's see. Okay, I found one now. Now if you can look in this direction now, you can see that there's a shift in market structure. It goes with structure, right? I want to make this video very simple for you. If you can mark this fair value gap here, and you can also mark our fair value gap here also, you can see now. But what do we have in common in this whole direction? We have a two sequence fair value gap around here, very scintily, very small one around here. If I expand this whole chart very well, you can start, there's a fair value gap inside here. You can see it, which made this environment a fair value gap very strong for markets to react in. If you go around the whole chart, sometimes you rarely see it though, but when you see it, you know that zone is going to be a very strong zone for reaction. Let's keep looking. Sorry, keep looking at the chart. Okay, I'm sorry I'm taking so much of your time. Now we have a beautiful one here. You can see it, fair value gap. Do you see it? The fair value gap is here, two sequence fair value gap. The fair value gap behind the current fair value gap. That's what is called a balance price range. So when I'm doing analysis, I always put fair value gap 4. Now this is the first one, the balance price range. The normal one, which is here, the normal fair value gap that you know is this whole zone here, from here to here. That's normal fair value gap, right? But when you have a fair value gap behind it, it's also called a balance price range. It is a very strong zone for market to come and react in. When you see this kind of zone on a fair value gap sequence, that trade is going to be very sweet. So I hope you understand what they call balance price range, and when you're marking your fair value gap, also put this into consideration and also follow the structure and the directional bias of the market. Don't forget to subscribe on the channel. I hope you are gaining value. Thank you very much.